I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here in Toronto, Ontario with the National Association of Career Colleges of Ontario, both groups coming together. They understand that they're much stronger together, great sharing of ideas. It's a very collaborative feeling in the room. There's no doubt about it that these people are making a difference in a lot of people's lives. Why don't you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us what you do.
Yeah, I'm George Hood, and I'm director with the Herzing College System. And we have 5 Canadian campuses in Ottawa, Montreal, Cambridge, Toronto, and Winnipeg.
Wow.
Yeah.
All focusing on different things or focusing on similar programs? Tell me a little bit about the whole
A lot of
thing.
the traditional programs like healthcare and business and IT, technology, cybersecurity. But we also do skilled trades, which is very much in demand. Labor force needs trained, skilled tradespeople.
How long you been in the Herzing conversation yourself?
Yeah, I started at Herzing in 2002.
Okay.
But I actually got into the sector back in 1989. Yeah, after the revolution.
Wow. I mean, so you've been around a long time, sort of in the conversation. Talk to me about the evolution of the sector over time. What have you been seeing?
Yeah, there's always been a need for career colleges because we turn students around and change their lives for the better in a much shorter period of time. So we run 52 weeks of the year. They don't get the summer off, so they can, like a paralegal graduate, can complete their program, become licensed, write their final exam with the Law Society, and be working after 52 weeks. Rather than going to a 3-year program at a community college, for example.
And that's not only good for the student, of course, but it's good for society as well because they get workforce right away when they need it.
Absolutely. And our students tend to be more mature. They're not directly out of high school. They're often doing their second career, or they're coming back to better themselves. I remember we did a poll of our students, and it was well over 60% that already had a degree or a diploma from a community college. And so they've got that credential. Why are they coming to us? Well, they're coming to us for more practical, targeted training so that they can take the program and actually get a job rather than just a general BA, general education.
Right. The other thing that I find fascinating about the career colleges is how closely tied they are to sort of the end user, whether that's government, whether that's industry. They understand the needs or are paying attention to the needs of the end user. Talk to me about the importance of that loop, closing that loop.
Well, part of that is, every one of the programs at Herzing has an internship. So that the student finishes the theoretical part at the campus or online, and then they go for an internship, which could be 6 weeks or 2 months long, during which time it's almost like a 2-month interview. They're doing the work, but we found that the employers become dependent on the work that the student is doing, the work that the student's providing. And at the end of the internship, the employer's faced with, can I continue on without this person? And oftentimes, over 70% of the time, that internship leads to a full-time job. Wow. So it's terrific. And we always have a career services department at the school that does mock interviews for the student, gets them prepared for the interview process. And this is even for the internship, let alone the job itself. Yeah. The other aspect is that we have lifelong learning, so that if a student wants to come back and take a course to upskill themselves, they can do that for the rest of their lives at Herzing. Yeah. We have that kind of guarantee that we stand behind what we're providing.
Yeah, I love the way that the colleges, they break down all the barriers for people to get in. They help them break through the financial barriers and everything to get into the learning at the colleges. But then they stay with them. Right at the end. They don't wash their hands of the student the minute they cross that stage. Yeah. They're with them on a journey. They help them get the jobs. They make sure that they're supported for a lot longer than you would expect. And talk to me about the importance of having that relationship with your graduates.
Well, the student typically bonds with the admissions person when they first meet at the point. And oftentimes they're not really sure what they want to do or the program they want to take or how it's going to benefit them. And they go through that process. We really try to, break down any of the barriers. We help them out financially. We've got a finance director that helps with the financial aid aspect of things, even with the budgeting of what a student might take. But for me, one of the most rewarding things I see is that a student can come in initially and maybe they don't have the confidence. Maybe they've had a tough life. Maybe they've got a few scars from just living and trying to make ends meet and whatnot. And they go through the program and they succeed, and we see them graduation night, and their heads are held high and they're so proud. And more importantly, they've got the courage and the confidence. And it's that confidence that makes them successful, I believe, just as much as the knowledge that they've obtained. It's that take on the world and do the best I can do.
Yeah. Talk to me about the importance of coming together in a conference like this, sharing ideas across the country, best practices, maybe some pitfalls people have gone down, learning from one another.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great country, and every province is a little unique, but there's more similarities than differences. And sharing best practices, I think, is a way that we can become better, right? We're constantly learning. We're always trying to improve things for the students. And, when I hear something from Saskatchewan or something from BC that they're doing that's kind of unique and creative and kind of out of the box, we can incorporate that in. And, one of the things that came out of the COVID tragedy was we moved quickly to online learning to facilitate students. So that they didn't have to come in on ground and be together because of the quarantine. But as it turns out, the outcomes that we're having from the online experience that the students having is actually better. In other words, the key performance indicators have actually improved over what they were before, what does that mean? That means higher graduation rates, higher employment rates, lower student loan default rates because they got a job and they can pay back their loans. And why would that be associated with online? Well, I think a lot of it's got to do with convenience. So the student can get a quality education because the program's been developed specifically to be delivered online. So a lot of work and effort and money's gone into the delivery of the program, making it the best it can be for that delivery. And the students have just taken to it and excel. The other aspect is I've discovered that the online courses get the students actually a bit more engaged with each other, and they take more ownership versus an instructor who's a talking head at the front of a class that can have their attention for 20 minutes, 30 minutes before they zone out, or you know what I mean?
I do.
It's you got to be an entertainer really to be a good instructor, and not everybody is a good entertainer.
Right.
You know what I mean? But online, they typically work in groups oftentimes, and they have a lot of projects to do, assignments to do, and it's like, how do you learn to play the piano? You don't learn it by somebody telling you how to play. You have to get on the keyboard and play.
Yeah.
And that tends to be the online experience.
I don't know if Herzing has a culinary program. I don't think you do across your board.
No.
But you probably should, because you just described taking lemons and turning them into lemonade there. Fantastic being in conversation with you. Certainly appreciate all the good work Herzing is doing. And I know Mr. Herzing would be very proud of the people that I've been in conversation with, right from senior leadership like yourself, right down to the students. They're also very proud to be a part of it.
The culture really starts from the top with Mr. Herzing, and the culture is it's all about the students. It's about student success.
Thanks for being in conversation. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.